Okay, so just to get an idea of where I'm coming from, I would consider myself a fan of Mortal Kombat. I'm a fan of the games. I've been playing them since I was a little kid. I played a lot of Mortal Kombat 11, which is the newest one, and it's something that's kind of always been around in my existence. I grew up in the 90s. I was a 90s kid. Mortal Kombat was super popular. The 1995 Mortal Kombat movie was pretty much the coolest thing around, and it's still the best Mortal Kombat movie that's ever been made. I was hoping I wouldn't have to say that, but it's true. The 95 movie is still where it's at. But just to let you guys know, I'm not a super hardcore Mortal Kombat fan. As in, I don't know the backstories of all the characters. I'm not super well versed in the lore. I know the general concept and idea of what Mortal Kombat is and of Outworld and like the very basics of how it works and pretty much the kind of forefront characters that you see, like the characters that are in this movie. Like I know Jax, I know Liu Kang and Sonya and the main characters, Shang Tsung and everything like that. So I come at this from a perspective of just a casual Mortal Kombat fan, not a hardcore fan, and I don't know if that would sway the difference of how I would feel about this movie if I was more hardcore into Mortal Kombat, but just from a casual fan perspective, from a movie fan perspective, and just from somebody that just enjoys action martial arts film. I'm a huge martial arts fan. Huge martial arts movie fan, action movies, and I go into a movie like Mortal Kombat, I'm not expecting some deep philosophical thing that's going to change my perspective of how the world works. I go in expecting badass, awesome fights, a great soundtrack, which actually this movie did have a pretty decent soundtrack, and just a very fun experience. I just want to ignore the world for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and just enjoy the spectacle that is on the screen. I wasn't expecting anything else from Mortal Kombat than Mortal Kombat. There is no Mortal Kombat in this movie, by the way, but we'll get to that in just a moment. So, very first, just sort of general thoughts, and then I'm going to delve into spoilers, because to talk about this movie, I really have to talk about specific things that happened in it that I just don't understand and just really didn't like about it. And I went in completely neutral. I really wanted to like this movie, and I really thought, the bar is very low for Mortal Kombat films because we've only had two. The 1995 movie, which is like a guilty pleasure, but I actually think is like a pretty decent action movie. It's a pretty good movie in itself. It has really fun characters. Annihilation, which was horrible. And then we had a couple of other, there was the Legacy that came out, was like an internet series. That was pretty good. A couple of animated movies. But overall, like, the bar for Mortal Kombat media outside the video games has been pretty low. So I was expecting high things from this movie, especially when I heard that it was rated R, they were going to do the fatalities. I like the design and the concept of the characters. I think the costumes mostly look pretty good. I thought the trailer looked good. So I was hyped, man. I was pumped for this movie. And I actually got to see it in a movie theater, which was great. And my overall consensus of this movie is just, it was just not, this was bad. This was a bad movie on many, many accounts. So you know the general idea of Mortal Kombat, right? So basically, Outworld is this other dimension that's going to invade and take over the world once they win 10 Mortal Kombat tournaments in a row. They've won 9, and now the 10th one is coming up. And so this movie is about gathering the fighters to fight in Mortal Kombat. Minor spoiler alert, Mortal Kombat does not happen in this movie. There is no Mortal Kombat tournament. The tournament is not here. It's talked about, but it's not in the movie. So the movie is called Mortal Kombat, and there is no Mortal Kombat. So just throwing that out there, number one. And the idea of this movie is that Shang Tsung is trying to kill off the fighters before Mortal Kombat begins. That's the plot line of this movie. So we get the assembling of our team, we get the characters training, and we get them fighting against Shang Tsung's henchmen. That is the core idea behind this movie. The things that I liked about this movie, I thought the soundtrack was pretty decent. There's some great themes for some of the characters. I think Sub-Zero's theme is really good. Yeah. When I'm picking out positives of the movie, I'm going straight to soundtrack. That's not a good sign. But the soundtrack was decent. And there is a moment in the movie where the Mortal Kombat theme kicks in. And it's actually like probably the best moment they could have put it in. So I really appreciated that moment. I thought Kano was the best character in this movie. And that's really sad to begin with, that in the Mortal Kombat movie, the best character is Kano. Now, I never disliked Kano as a character, but he's the only character in this movie that actually has a personality, that actually just isn't a blank slate to deliver lines, that actually has character to him. He actually has like quips that, you know, make sense to who he is. He actually has mannerisms that make sense to who he is. The dialogue that he says makes sense for his character. The way that his body language moves, the way that he kind of interacts back and forth with characters, and the one-liners that he says, which could be mildly annoying, but the fact that he's the only character that's actually acting as, like, I mean, obviously he's over the top, but he's acting like an actual character and not just somebody that's like, Mortal Kombat is coming. Oh, we have to find these people. Here, this is how this works. Look at my marker. Oh, now we have to fight. Like, it's just, every other character is so goddamn bland, and Kano is actually seeming like he's having fun with the role. Like, he's seeming like he's having fun with the character, and I really, really enjoyed his character. And except for what they did with him at the very end, which I thought was stupid. I thought they should have went in a different direction with him. But for the most part, yeah, he was the best character in the movie. Other than that, I really don't have anything good to say about it. I wanted to like this movie. And bear in mind, I am going into this thinking that this is Mortal Kombat. So just give me a good action movie. That's all I definitely need out of this movie. I don't need the deepest plot. I don't need the deepest sort of like underlying message or themes going on in this film, all right? I'm not looking to dissect this movie in an intelligent way. I'm just looking for fun, and I'm looking to be hyped up and pumped. By the end of this movie, I should want to go out and get in a fight. I did not. I did not. Well, I kind of wanted to, but in a different reason. I was kind of pissed that the movie was so bad that I wanted to go fight somebody, but I wasn't pumped up to the point where, like, yeah, I want to go fight in a tournament. So yeah, that's my non-spoiler review. So click off the video if you don't want to see spoilers. Other than that, I'm going to go into the spoilers. If you go into this movie expecting there to be an actual tournament, like an actual Mortal Kombat, it's not here. And I'm sorry if that bothers me so much to the point where it might be annoying that I keep mentioning that, but it's just like, I never expected that to be the case. I never expected that you would make the first Mortal Kombat movie and not have it actually be about the tournament itself. Because that's the whole crux of the idea behind what this is that, okay, Outworld has won 9 tournaments in a row. If they win the 10th tournament, then that's it for the world. And so we're preparing for the tournament, and it doesn't happen. There's no tournament that happens here. It's just assembling the crew, and a couple of fights happen along the way. And something about that really just, like, viscerally annoys me. Like, the fact that, like, that's the baseline thing that you should have in this movie is Mortal Kombat, and it doesn't happen. But, okay, beyond that, well, okay, you don't have the tournament, that's fine. But you still have fights in this movie, right? It is Mortal Kombat after all, so characters are battling, and we do see fights in the trailers and stuff. So what about the fights? See, the fights could have been the one saving grace of this movie. If everything else sucked, if the characters were bland, if the story was stupid, if they're not having the tournament, if nothing else makes sense, at least have badass, memorable, awesome fights. Great choreography, great battles, great use of their powers and everything, and this movie does not deliver on that. The fights are bland. They are shot in a way where the camera is so close up that you can't really get a full scope of what's actually happening. Like, so many times the camera needs to pull back so you can actually see the fight. Instead, it's like a close-up shot, throw 2 punches, edit to a different shot, throw 2 punches. Like, it was edited in a way that I absolutely detest editing fight scenes in this way. Fight scenes, the best fight scenes are usually done in very long takes, and they're done in wide shots so you can actually see the choreography, you can actually see what's going on, and the fights themselves are memorable. Now, there are moments in this movie where the characters do use some of their special moves and fatalities. There is a great one where Kung Lao, he's right up there, fucking Kung Lao, who was always my favorite character to pick in the video games. I love playing with this character. He would be my main. I absolutely adore Kung Lao in the games. In this movie, he has no personality whatsoever, but also, okay, so he does have a great fatality moment where he spins the hat and throws another character into it and basically, like, kicks them into the hat, and they split in half. It's shown in the movie, it's R-rated, it's gory, it's great. It's a great moment, right? Except, I have no like, sense of victory for Kung Lao in that moment because I don't even know who the fuck he was fighting. It's just a random-ass bad character. This is an evil character with wings. She swoops in, whatever. I know nothing about her. Kung Lao hasn't... Like, it would have been better if the character meant something to Kung Lao, or, like, Kung Lao was getting defeated in the battle, and like he couldn't stand up, and in his final like desperation moment he spins the hat and manages to kill her, have a moment where the crowd would cheer like, finally he beat that bitch down, I'm so happy that he finally came through and won in the end. Instead, I don't even remember what the character looked like that he was fighting. Like I remember she had wings, but it was just a random like throwaway character. The same thing with the character that Jax fights. He fights some big dude with an axe who like he just screams. I don't even remember the name of his character, and Jax defeats him in like 2 seconds. There's no sense of victory. There's no sense of, yes, Jax defeated him. Again, uses a fatality. He crushes the dude's head. There's lots of gore. It's cool, I guess, but I don't care. Like there was no sense of tension during the battle. There was no sense that our character could possibly lose. There was never a sense of like which character is going to die. There was never a sense of like, I'm actually scared that he might not make it through. And then immediately after Kung Lao defeats his enemy, Shang Tsung grabs him and sucks out his soul, which in this, like, I'm aware of Shang Tsung. I'm aware of the fact that he needs to consume souls to continue living, but it's not mentioned in this movie, or if it is, it's one throwaway line that I don't remember. So when Shang Tsung does that, you have no idea what's going on, why is he doing it, and if he can do that, if he can just grab characters and suck out their souls, why didn't he just do that to everybody? What he just does it to Kung Lao and then he leaves. He stands there and does nothing. If Shang Tsung is so powerful, why is he not doing this? And you can't say that it's like, there's a line in the movie where they were like, well, the elders or something can't interfere with man, and that's why Raiden doesn't fight, but Shang Tsung fights. And so I don't understand if they're on the same level or not. But even if so, or if not, Shang Tsung still does what he does, and he's obviously more powerful than any of the other characters, so why doesn't he just attack and do that to all of them? Like, I don't know. And also, you got rid of my boy Kung Lao, who is like my favorite character from the games. I'm like, oh, gee, thanks. You gave him this one great moment against an enemy that doesn't matter, and then you just kill him off, like, immediately, not even explaining Shang Tsung's powers. Completely annoyed with that. So, like, in a world where we have movies like John Wick, and we have movies like The Raid, and we have these high quality, like, the bar for action movies has been raised to a very high quality at this point. There are action movies out there that have done it right, that know what they're doing. I even hear the new movie Mr. Nobody that came out has great, like, sort of John Wick-esque action sequences. So, like, if there's one thing this movie should have done amazingly, it's the fight scenes. If they should have put the budget anywhere, if you can't put the budget into amazing special effects or locations, there's barely any locations in this movie, and all the locations are bland and boring as fuck, even Outworld. Oh my god. Anyways, if you can't put the budget anywhere else, at least put the budget into fight choreography and great fight scenes, and it's not. There's a couple, like I said, there's a couple of cool moments that happen within the fight scenes. Like, yeah, there's a scene where Sub-Zero cuts Scorpion, and then his blood flies in the air, and then he freezes the blood and uses that as another weapon. That's great. I mean, that's cool, but it's just like, the fights themselves are not memorable. Like, there's a couple of moments, like the fatality kill, yeah, cool. The blood, freezing the blood thing, yeah, cool. But, like, during the battles themselves, I don't remember, like, how the fight scenes worked at all. And so, like, that's the biggest thing I could say about this movie, is that on the greatest thing that they could have done, they failed on. And look, I know it's hard to make a movie. I've not made a big Hollywood film or anything, and I understand that they were probably doing their best, but it failed on that level. Now, excuse me. The other thing is the characters themselves. They add in, the main character's name is Cole. And I knew about this before going in the movie, that they added an original character, not a character from the games. And, I was open to the idea of it. I was like, okay, let's see what this Cole character does. Let's see what he's all about. And I watched this entire movie, and by the end of it, I know nothing about this character. I don't know anything about him. I know that he has a wife or a girlfriend and a daughter, which I thought his daughter was his sister at first, because the daughter is like 13 and he looks like he's in his mid-20s, so I have no idea what age he must have been when he had her, or if she's not actually his and she's just from the girl that he's dating. I don't know. It's not explained, or at least if it is, it's like one throwaway line I don't even remember. I don't know anything about this character. He's completely bland. He's boring. There's nothing to him. I don't know about his backstory. I don't know anything about it. I know he likes to fight. And I know that he has a girlfriend. That's about it. And he doesn't really do anything to move the plot along. He's pretty much useless during the entire movie. He doesn't really know what to say or what to do. Pretty much every fight that he's in, he needs help with. He is once he unlocks his power or his ability, it's so lame. It's so stupid. Like, why am I covering up spoilers? He just, like, grows armor on his body and gets some, like, tonfas. Like, it's like, okay, you're bringing in this new character. And what I thought was, because they mentioned that he's within the lineage of Scorpion. So the beginning of the movie actually takes place in, like, ancient Japan, and we show the Sub-Zero kill Scorpion back in ancient Japan, which was the best scene of the movie, by the way. The beginning of the movie actually kind of gives you potential. You're like, oh man, this could be pretty cool. And actually, it's probably the best filmed fight scene in the movie too, where it sort of pulls away a little bit for you to see what's going on. Scorpion, he ties the end of the spear to the rope and starts using it. It's pretty decent. Like the first like 5-10 minutes of the movie isn't too bad. But then Scorpion's not in the rest of the movie, and so what I thought they were gonna do is make Cole like this generation's Scorpion. What I thought, because he had the lineage and he had the history, he kept having dreams about Scorpion and hell and whatnot. So like I thought when he manifested his ability, it would be like Scorpion. So it would be like, you know, the legacy of the Scorpion kind of moves through generations, and then this version is going to take revenge for the old versions being killed, like, you know, sort of like getting revenge for the death of your father, but it's not really your father, it's like your great ancestor or whatever. I thought that would have made more sense, but no, he just gets a completely different ability, and then Scorpion shows up randomly at the end of the movie. I've escaped hell to fight you. Okay. And then he fights. It's just like, what? And it's like, I mean, like I said, that was the best use of the music in the movie, when the Scorpion chain goes through Sub-Zero and you hear the Mortal Kombat theme. Yeah, that's cool, but like, what the fuck? Why is he there? How is he doing this? How did Cole's wife survive the freezing process? How did you know what I mean? Like, I don't get it, man. Another thing for the characters. So, like I said, Kano is my favorite character in this movie because he actually has a personality. He actually has character. He's telling the other characters what's up. He's you know, making quips and jokes. He's like, "Don't touch me," yada yada. You know, he's got a lot of personality to him, and I really appreciated that. And then I thought they ruined it because, like, I understand Kano's an asshole and Kano's a villain, right? Like, Kano's not a good person. He's not a hero, okay? But he is a human. And so he is a human that was chosen to fight in Mortal Kombat. And so, like, if your entire world is at stake, the fact that these other creatures from a different dimension are going to come in and take over the world, you're chosen to fight. It doesn't really matter if you're good or bad. The fact of the matter is, if you don't fight in this tournament, then your world's going to be destroyed, basically, right? So I would have preferred them to keep Kano on the main hero's team, and he could have still been a villain. He could have still been an asshole. He could have still been a bad guy in his own way. But it's like, you know, the enemy of my enemy, basically. Well, it's like, if I don't fight in this tournament, then the world's going to be taken over, so I may as well join up with them and fight. And so I would have preferred them to keep Kano on that team and just be like the resident asshole of the group. But instead, they have to have him, oh no, he switches sides and he betrays them, and then he gets killed by Sonya. Sonya is boring. She's bland. As soon as she shows up in the movie, she's like, oh, here, yes, I have all this information. I am the exposition person and blah, 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 Mortal Kombat, leading to Mortal Kombat, which doesn't happen in the movie. Jax is, again, super bland. He's like equipping these characters. He's like gathering the team. Then Sub-Zero breaks his arms off, which, you know, was kind of cool, I guess. And then he shows up later, and he just shows up later. Well, here's the thing. Okay, so a whole idea, the whole process of these characters kind of meeting up, like the chosen ones that are supposed to fight in this tournament, are looking for Raiden and looking for his mansion or his temple or whatever it is. It's in the middle of the desert. But Raiden has the ability to teleport people. He can just teleport you wherever he wants. There's even a scene in the movie where they specifically say, hey, you could teleport anybody anywhere, right? And Raiden's like, yeah. And they teleport people to different locations in order to fight. So what was the point of them searching for Raiden's temple, going through the desert, going through all this hell to find Raiden's location, when Raiden can just teleport people wherever he wants to? Why didn't he just teleport them all to the temple to begin with and then start their training from there? I just don't understand. Like, Raiden's not allowed to interfere, but he's allowed to teleport people wherever he wants. Okay, and even if he needs to know their exact location, well, you already have an idea of where the characters are because Jax goes to look for Cole. So why didn't... And Raiden was able to teleport Jax from his location to the temple after he's defeated. So why wouldn't Raiden just go to figure out where the marked people are and then teleport them back to the temple? And like, if Raiden knows the whole entire backstory of Scorpion with Cole, why didn't he just tell him that from the get-go? Why did he just tell him that and then teleport him away? And then he's like, oh, you have your ability now, so I'm going to teleport you back. But he had to have known that. He had to have sensed it in some way, so he couldn't have sensed the characters before and teleported them to the temple. I don't get it. I don't get it. Which, by the way, since Raiden can't interfere, Raiden never fights in the movie, which is super lame. We never get to see him use and access his powers in a cool, fun way. Like, the worst thing I could say about Mortal Kombat is that it was boring. You know, like, I don't even know. It's been a long time since I've seen Mortal Kombat Annihilation, all right? And that movie is abysmally bad, but at least it's like so bad that it's funny. It's like, it's so bad that you can like poke fun out of it and laugh at it. This movie, it didn't reach that point. It was just the point of bad. It was just the point of it was not entertaining. I have no desire to ever watch this movie again. And again, like I said, I'm not looking for some deep complexity in a Mortal Kombat movie. I'm just looking for basic shit, like fun action and good characters. And I didn't think it delivered on that basic level of what I wanted Mortal Kombat to be. And for the love of God, like, Outworld, look, what we see of Outworld is just this throne that Shang Tsung sits on, and it's, again, very boring, very basic. Like, the architecture, the layout of it is just like, it's just this spiky throne. There's not really anything interesting to it. There's nothing unique to it. There's nothing that stands out about it being Shang Tsung's throne. It's just this generic grayscale throne thing that you've seen in a million different movies and a million different series, and he just sits there and spouts exposition. He's like, yes, we will defeat the warriors before the tournament, like as if Shang Tsung just spends all day sitting in his throne spouting out exposition, as if he doesn't have better things to do with his time. You know, it's like yeah, very, very bland and very basic. That's basically what I can say about this movie, is that it was just bland. It was just very bland. There wasn't anything fun to look at or experience. There was nothing to kind of hype you up. There was no moment of like excitement. There was no moment of tension within the battles. There was no characters that were entertaining besides Kano. The interactions were boring. Oh, and the training sequences. Okay, so another thing that they could have done that would have been more creative is, like, when they go to Raiden's temple, they have to unlock their ability, like their supernatural or like their chi or their power. I forget what they called it. But like Liu Kang, who can like spout fire out of his hands, which, oh man, by the way, Liu Kang was so boring in this movie. Oh my god, like they picked a really good actor for him too, and he looked just like Liu Kang from the games, but he didn't have anything to do. Oh yeah, so the training sequence to unlock their ability, they could have had a lot of creative things to do here because they are in a temple in the middle of the desert. So they could have had like training rooms, they could have had mazes, they could have had different things for the characters to unlock and awaken their ability. The possibilities are endless for the type of training that they could have done. Many movies have done different kinds of training montages, and there could have been different things that are like internal for each character. Maybe even some sort of room where they see their internal struggle or have to face a character from their past, or anything kind of different that they could have done. Instead, it's literally like, we're just going to fight in a sand pit until you unlock your ability. Like, that's it. That's the big training for the tournament. Like, what are we going to do? Like, this big tournament to decide the fate of the world is going to come up. What are we going to do? We're just going to fight each other in this little sand pit to train. Like, what you should have an entire, like, Ninja Warrior course for these characters to do. Like, something that actually unlock their hidden potential within. You know, something to kind of push them forward. You know, maybe something, I don't know. I don't know. If I had time to reflect on it, I could probably come up with something better than just, let's fight each other until you awaken your ability. And yeah, man, I'm just deeply disappointed with this movie. I really wanted to go in to like it. I really wanted to enjoy it. I can't believe they killed my boy Kung Lao, even though he didn't really have a personality in the movie. Yeah. So yeah, not a fan, if you couldn't tell. I was not a fan of this movie. I need to watch the 1995 movie to get this taste out of my mouth. But anyways, Just because I didn't like it doesn't mean you're not allowed to like it. So if you guys enjoyed it, or if you didn't enjoy it, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you thought about Mortal Kombat 2021. If you saw it, do you want to see another movie? Do you actually want to see a movie where there is a martial arts tournament called Mortal Kombat? That might be kind of cool. Maybe add in Johnny Cage, who wasn't in this movie, but they teased him. Oh, I'm going to go to Hollywood now. Why not just make Cole Johnny Cage? Why not just have him, like, instead of the movie starting at an MMA match, why not just start it on a movie set? And it could have been the same movie, but with a better character. I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. And then you could have had the romantic tension between Sonya and Johnny Cage. It would have made more sense. I don't know. What do you guys think? Please put all that in the comments below. Also, please like this video and subscribe if you enjoyed and you want to stick around and see more content, because any interaction with the video does help it be seen in the algorithm better, and I would really, really appreciate it. Also, check out the links in the description below. I have my merch store, the Patreon, and all the social media links where you can follow me. Other than that, guys, thank you for watching this video rant. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you in the next video.